ability to connect with clients today, how easy or hard has it become?
Yeah, I think, it's become hard if you don't adapt, if you're too rigid. And I think one thing that the pandemic did was it created a lot more committee-based decisions, a lot more group-based decisions. I think pre-pandemic there was a lot of segment owners within a business, whether it's demand gen, sales, SDR, inbound, outbound, that were holding budgets and they were, there wasn't as much connective rev tech technology. And I think this is similar with every department, whether you're in financial tech, whatever. And I think you were building your own little siloed stack with your own little budget. I think once the pandemic hit, the tech had already been there where it was starting to get more connective, but people started to work a bit more together because I think, budgets were tight. People didn't know what was going on. And I think people were uncomfortable making spending decisions on their own, and rightfully so, just because they didn't want to, paint themselves in a corner. So there's a lot of data on it, but like the people involved in a buying decision, whether it's enterprise technology or even something, a bit more tactical, is becoming bigger and bigger. And it's becoming more diversified in terms of who the different stakeholders are, with security being a bigger thing, with, GDPR and a lot of these privacy, regulations being a bigger thing, where you have to look at the holistic impact of any vendor you add at this point.
Oh, I agree. But there's so many questions I have in what you just said, but I want to take a step back, because when you look at Influ 2 and what you have to offer, walk my audience through a common scenario. Victor, here's a company that has this problem, right? Here's what they've been struggling with. Here's how we can help, and here are the results when they come out the other side.
Yeah, so I think there's three layers of value. One primary value on the marketing side, one primary value on the sales side, and then one primary value holistically. Now, we take something that's been around forever, digital advertising, and we're helping marketers simplify the budgeting for it, but also be quite a bit more targeted. IP and cookie-based advertising is getting more complicated, especially since COVID, with the distributed workforce, but also with privacy regulations. So when you target an account, and accounts don't buy, people buy, you have to water down the messaging because you don't know who's going to see that messaging per se, specifically, right? So we allow you to create an ad for a specific audience, not just persona, but the actual person. Whether it's a CMO campaign, you assign those specific CMOs to it. Then our technology optimizes where to show that based on their media consumption. And the other value is it ties the engagement, the impressions, the web visits, as well as the clicks and views directly to that person in the CRM. So I think the challenge with ABM tech, and I'm a big believer in intent tech, I think it's great for sales teams, but it can be hard to action on because, if you're an enterprise seller and you see Microsoft showing a bunch of engagement and a bunch of intent, but Victor is the guy you need to talk to, or there's 7 other people, it's hard to know how to action on that to Victor because you have no idea where he fits in that puzzle. So we solve that problem. And then holistically, being able to tie back into the CRM, we can follow that whole journey to show an ROI report on advertising's influence, because we can tie directly back to the person.
Man, like I said, man, the way you compact all that, because there's a lot in there to unpack, right? So I'm going to back up again, just kind of go through it slowly. I'm a company that's offering a service, because you mentioned several things. You talk about, the IP/cookie advertisement, how that's becoming more difficult. You mentioned earlier GDPR. You're throwing that in there. ABM marketing, getting the data into the CRM, finding intent/behavioral or sentiment analysis, whatever you want to call it, on the AI side. Let's back up a little bit and make it simple. I want to simplify this, and then let's kind of tear it apart a little bit. I'm a company that I sell services, right? Consulting services for the, IT industry. And so I would come to a company like you. I said, look, I'm trying to drive more traffic using account-based marketing. I'm trying to drive more traffic to my site, and these are the people I am targeting. Fair so far?
Fair.
In that setup?
Fair.
Okay. And so now I come to a company like you, and you say digital advertising, which could mean not only online. Describe what your definition of digital advertising is. I have an idea, but I just want to make sure it's all inclusive in what you mean.
Yeah, so specifically for us, we deliver ads through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google Network, Yahoo Network, and Amazon. So they're ads through those channels.
Do you help me develop those ads, or do I have to do that?
You do that. We obviously have a stable of agency partners that can support that. We have a lot of best practices and benchmarks based off our successful customers. But you do
That's
that
what I want to hear.
because you want to control the message to your audience.
All right, I love this. So anyway, I have a problem. I don't have enough customers. I need more eyeballs on my website. I partner with you and maybe with some of your agency on developing some content to drive the traffic. You guys say, okay, here's how it's going to work. Here are the keywords we're targeting. Here's your ICPs, your ideal client profiles, your target personas, so forth and so on. Fair so far?
Fair.
Pull the data in. Now, I get some data from you, let's say at the end of the month. Walk me from there. Let's say you've monitored the data for me. And remember, I'm your client. What are you going to show me at the end of the month? Because I think people need to understand the real value of what you offer.
Yeah, so we dig a lot deeper than, a lot of ABM campaigns, they measure effectiveness through web traffic, through things like this. And the reason they do that is because they can't measure directly to the opportunity level, right? So when we talk to our prospects and customers, we're supporting efficiency in their funnel, right? Especially right now, most companies are doing outbound. And if your SDRs and sellers are calling on a cold audience, we help warm that audience up, right? So we'll show conversions of prospects to pipeline on the audience that we advertised to versus ones we didn't, so we can show the difference in conversion rate. Then we can follow that through and we can show sales velocity for the opportunities that we're supporting multi-threading through our advertisements versus the ones they aren't. And then we can ultimately follow that to revenue.
Gotcha. And so when you're talking to a company, because I know you do more than just web traffic, right? Because you're really looking at what's actually happening as they're visiting the web page. Is that a fair thing? For example, if they're looking at videos or downloading white papers based on the things you've set up. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, usually we're looking at that. Sometimes it's a KPI for what they're looking at, but usually it's, did they click on the ad? How much time did they spend on the ad? How many impressions did we deliver them? And did they convert to pipeline? So I would say web traffic's like, it's a data point, but it's definitely not the success criteria.
Gotcha. What